Welcome back to the channel for another College TF review. Today I'll be taking a look at a double review of Dr. Wu Coneheads and Cosmos sets that have recently been released. You can get yours over at Shozy Store. Check out the link in the description below. I know it's been a little while since I've made a video, but we're back and we're here with some really awesome releases, so let's get right into it. So we'll take a look at the boxes before we start. And again, this is a double review, so these are two separate products, but they are, obviously meant to go together as you get all three Coneheads plus Cosmos. So here are the boxes. You can see we have Cosmos is Space Disc, Ramjet is Turbo, then Thrust is Propel, and Dirge is Elegy. I just said Elegy. So you go DW E19, DW E21, E22, and E20. Some cool product shots on the back of the boxes. Then inside of each, you do get your typical Dr. Wu collector's card and instructions. I'll just open up one here for you. You can see. So, for example, you get, here's Cosmos. It's all in Chinese, but nonetheless, cool looking artwork. And Ramjet, Turbo. Very nicely done as always. And then instructions, you do get instructions for each of them, and they are specific. They didn't just reuse the Seeker instructions entirely, they actually are for each specific robot, so that's really good. This is specific to Ramjet, as you can see here. And it's not like all of them use Ramjet's instructions, they all have their own instructions. There you go, that is Ramjet. Oh, very nicely done here from Dr. Wu. Very nice attention to detail, and just basic things that really did go very well. Good set. You get everything that you could want. Get this stuff out of the way, and let's fly these guys in so we can take a look at them. Cosmos. I was really excited to get that guy with the set, and of course have the Coneheads finally from from one of the legends it manufactures, and Dr. Wu is definitely one of my favorite, just given how tiny they are. These guys are insane. Just throw on Cosmos. All right, so here is a close look at Cosmos. Very nice detail, nice painting there. This is all paint going around the sides there too. Very nice. Of course, he does have the fists on the ends with the guns. That is accurate though. Bottom, all yellow. It's actually pretty filled out for, the way he transforms and how small he is. Really dense little robots. These Dr. Wu figures. Very nice there. Then all three of these guys, of course, reuse their Seeker mold, which I'll bring out Starscream for a comparison in a minute here. But they have made some very nice updates to them. Here's Ramjet. Beautiful color scheme. Again, it's amazing how compact these guys are. Bring in Kingdom Starscream, Core Class Starscream, so you get a sense of how well these guys compact for how tiny they are. Nice double tails, engines, really cool wings, nice big blasters, and these of course do come off. And with that being said, mine on Dirge are really loose, unfortunately, but the other guys are pretty good. And they do all have their own individual sculpt for their null ray blaster things. They're all different, so that is pretty cool to see. They paid that much attention to detail here. Of course, you have the different wing arrangements on this guy, and there are different sets of joints for all of these guys. So they actually made them all unique, as they should be, which is really awesome to see. And then, of course, lastly you have Dirge. Very cool, like the canards. Very cool design. And that is all of them. So yeah, you can see undersides, they are roughly all the same, just different paint schemes and different wings. So for comparison, let's start with a Hasbro product. Here is Kingdom Core Class Starscream. Has now also been re-released in Legacy, of course. So just for size comparison, there you go. See, these guys are tiny. Dr. Wu makes real tiny Transformers, and they're amazing. Like, look at how skinny this guy is in proportion to Starscream. This just looks much more like a sleek, fast jet than, this has a little. This is still really good. This is one of the best ones, best core class aircraft or legend scale aircraft that we've gotten, especially mainline. This is probably the best. But, like, Dr. Wu goes the extra step, and the articulation on this guy is just as good as the articulation on the, full-size Voyager class figures and everything, right? The feet actually tuck in, opposed to sticking out. But overall, you can see the transformation is actually quite similar. There's some, you know, some very similar engineering in how the arms transform. And of course the fists do still just hang out in front of Dr. Wu, but I do much prefer how they do the nose, where on the Kingdom, or the core class Starscream, this does not actually become the chest. He has a faux chest, whereas on the Dr. Wu figures, this is actually the chest. So pretty nicely done there. So there is Starscream, Kingdom core class. And then for Dr. Wu, here's Dr. Wu Starscream, and yeah, this looks fantastic. This is a very nice figure. If you haven't seen my review on any of these, definitely check them out. So there you go. There's that size comparison. You can see they are exactly the same length. It's just the wings that change for each figure. There you go. And there we go. Very, very nice addition there. And then for Cosmos, let's not forget our Autobot. Do have the Dr. Wu Power Glide. These guys, I believe, are buds in the show, so thought I would bring these two comparison. There you go. Very nice, very nice. And the obligatory Optimus Prime. There we go. For our Autobots. Pretty interesting lineup Dr. Wu has chosen for the Autobots, as we've gotten more obscure characters of the Minibots than we have, you know, any of the mainline figures. We've gotten Blaster, but otherwise it's been Beachcomber, Power Glide, and now Cosmos, and those are all Minibots. So cool, very cool. So let's get these guys out of the way for now. I'll get them transformed up later for robot mode comparisons. But let's get into transformation. So I'll start with the new guy, Cosmos. He's actually, you know, fully, entirely new mold, new transformation. So to begin with, he's pretty simple. You want to start at the arms and just kind of free up from this tab back here, and then pull up and free from that tab. And you'll see you're on a rotating hinge here. And there is a tiny little slot in there that goes into a very tiny groove, but it is remarkably secure. So just do that. Same thing on the other side. This is actually my first Cosmos figure, so I believe his transformation is pretty similar to other ones, but I'm not really sure. Couldn't get my hands on that Legacy one, so then you just want to rotate that back piece up. It is just mounted on a ball joint there. And then come to the legs, shift them forward, and the feet, pull them down, and then these are on kind of like a slip joint here, so you want to pull them out, don't try and rip them apart. And then lastly, his head, and there are little nail grabs on each side there, and just pull that up. Here you have Cosmos in his robot mode, and I mean, for how tiny this guy is, this is impressive. This is very impressive. Nice paintwork all throughout, and the paint matches really well with just the plastic coloring. Very nice head sculpt there. Very, very nice. Very nice looking Minibot, and this is minier than the original Minibot, so well, there you go, and with much better articulation. So you can go full 360 at the head. Then he does have ball joint to the shoulder, but he can only really get up to that far based on the way they're sculpted. He can get up to that, about that high, and back to there, and there we go, get the full 360. You can get 90 out of the elbow, of course, nothing at the wrists. Then he does have waist rotation. Now I will say on mine, it doesn't really lock in at all. It does just kind of slide around, but so tiny it doesn't really matter all that much. You can kick forward to about there. You can also kick back very well. Nice 90, the knee. He's almost so tiny, it's very hard to manipulate these joints, but it is a remarkable amount of articulation in this guy. And he's still very playable. Nothing's super loose and floppy. He's very sturdy, but nothing's also really tight. And then ball joint here at the feet. So, you know, still limited ankle rock, but a little bit. And you get all the movement you can want, also side to side. So very articulated for a little Cosmos. I believe the same amount of articulation, if not a little more, than the Hasbro release. So pretty impressive here from tiny little Cosmos. And we'll get into size comparisons a little later on. And for the three Coneheads here, their transformation is almost exactly identical to that of Starscream, Dr. Wu Starscream. So to begin with, you want to flip this panel up. That does reveal the Conehead right there. Then I like to come to the arms, just attach those, and then go ahead and pull the nose down and flip it inside, and then just push the whole thing through. Kind of similar to G1 transformation, sort of. And then just leave that cone at the top, Then come to the legs, then come to the chest. You need to detach it from the sides. Then I would say Ramjet here is the trickiest to transform because the tolerance is a little bit tight. So you want to take the wings, the tails, fold them down, and then come to the wings and just pull them over here. And you'll see the wing actually separates into separate parts here. So you do that, and then come to the legs, and just pull them away a little bit from the body. So that way you have some room to work with, and then pull these arms back as far as they can. And make sure this piece isn't all the way flat because you do need some clearance here for these little red parts. And we just want to rotate all this around. And it's just a matter of, moving all the panels around. And then it does tab in. Very tiny tabs, but they hold their place and they're strong. And then come to these pieces, just like Core Class Starscream, tab them in front, like that. And then for finishing touches here on the upper assembly, come up, close that down, take the cone, fold that back. And then these are like little extra pieces of the wing. I just like to flare them back as far as they go, just to make its profile a little cleaner. Then for the legs, just split the legs, pull up the feet, or the toes there. And then you can display the wings however you want. You can have them out to the side, you can have them a little more angled back, which is what I prefer. But there is Ramjet, Dr. Wu Ramjet, whatever his trade name is, but very cool. Very well done. And I mean, look at that tiny little face sculpt. Very impressive. You can see he has an open mouth there, screaming at Starscream probably. Then articulation, he does have head turn at the head, and it probably can go the full 360. It's just very small and a little bit tight, but very small. But it is much easier to maneuver than the legs of the Seekers because it's just you have the cone there to maneuver it. Then its shoulders do get nice ball joint there, go all the way around, of course, 90-degree bend and swivel, and you can maneuver these guns however you want or just pop them off, which I'm sure they will. One of these guys, they're going to pop off for me during transformation, but then at no waste articulation, but then you do get a kick to about there, and then back not very far, and then this guy's got a lot of chunk, but he can still get the 90 out of the knee, and then you do, if you wanted to use the toes, you could. Or if you wanted to use the wings, you could as well. So that is Ramjet. And I will just go through the transformation for all of these guys, so if you think you get the gist, you can of course fast forward to the size comparisons, but they are a little bit different. You can see the joints on this guy are different than on that one, at least the connection points for the wings, so it makes the transformation slightly different. So to begin with, this guy, same as the last, basically. Fold that up. You can just go ahead, rotate that nose cone around. Show you from the top side this time, see what's happening. Straighten that out. And these just fall off anyway, so fold them, set them off to the side, makes things a little easier. Pull out the fists there, rotate the wings up there, detach from the chest. And this guy, you don't have to worry about that same kind of clearance when you're pulling these up because the rear wings don't extend forward. You can actually just go ahead and collapse these forward like that. Pull up the toes, pull the legs forward, detach them. Go ahead and rotate this whole upper assembly all the way around, like so. Then collapse that back piece, cone, chest, snap into place. And of course, go back and attach his cannons to his shoulders. Go. And there we go. Here we have Ramjet. Or not Ramjet, sorry. Whatever his name is. Sorry. Forgetting. Thrust. Here we have Thrust. Very nice. Let's see the head sculpts. You can see even the eyes on these guys are different, as is their face. That is pretty insane. I believe they have, no, maybe the face sculpt is the same. I think the face sculpt is the same, but even their eyes are painted. You can see Ramjet has red eyes, Thrust has yellow eyes. Orange, gold, so some differences in paint, but awesome, very, very nice. And for how tiny these guys are, of course, I'm gonna jinx myself on camera, but they are pretty easy to pose, like really easy to pose. And last but not least, we have Dirge. I always thought his jet mode looked really cool. The canards, the big delta wings and back. Winglets, very cool. And transformation, very similar, but now you have canards attached to this piece, so just something to be mindful about when you're transforming him. Flip that nose cone through. Then detach the arms. Very similar. And this guy does have a similar, a little clearance thing to be mindful of, so it is easier just to flip the big wings up and then detach the chest, so you can have some clearance there around the wings, and pull the legs down just so you have some space. You can see it all kind of gets a little tangled up in there, so just want to maneuver the wings. You can see they're kind of caught on the corner there, so just kind of pull them out. Now you have plenty of space to rotate everything around. And I will say the plastic quality on these guys is fantastic. For how tiny they are, doesn't feel like cheap brittle plastic. It feels very nice and durable, very movable. And then come up to the canard piece here and fold these little extra wing pieces back. Tuck the cone down. And of course, finish up with the legs, feet, and you can do whatever you want with these gigantic wings. They do look a little funny having wings that big, but there you go. Here are all of the Coneheads, and you can see his face. He also has red eyes like Ramjet. Very cool. So let's get these guys lined up for some comparisons. They are looking pretty awesome together. Fun little team here from Dr. Wu, and they come in 2 packs, which is perfect. They are a bit pricey, I will say, for how small they are, about $35 from Shozy Store for these guys, but they're definitely worth it if you're into very, very tiny transforming transformers. So let's get those other guys transformed. All right, so we got them all back together. So here is Dr. Wu Optimus and Dr. Wu Powerglide with Cosmos, and then here is Kingdom Core Class Starscream, just so you can see how tiny these guys are, and Dr. Wu Starscream here on the end. So in summary, yeah, I think these guys are fantastic figures. If you're a collector of Dr. Wu, these are definitely a must get. And if you're just getting into it, you can pick up, I think, quite a few of the previous releases of Dr. Wu across various websites still, and they do really re-releases. So yeah, definitely check out the link below if you want to pick up the 2 packs. Both of them, I believe, are in stock now, so definitely check them out. And what's also kind of cool what's Shozy sent me is, they always include stickers with all of their figures, and now they've got some cool Maximal and Insecticon logos in there, so that's pretty cool to see. And yeah, that about does it for my review of the Dr. Wu 2 packs of Propel, Elegy, Space Disc, and Turbo. Very nice sets, highly recommend them, and stay tuned for my next video. Thanks for watching.